Daily Mad News. Mad News. Daily Mad News. Mad News. Daily Mad News. Just a quick announcement. The past few days my channel was offline, literally deleted by YouTube. So I've managed to get it back, but not all the metadata of my videos I can get back. So I've literally lost all my view count, I've lost all my hours, and I've also lost all my subscribers. So if you're watching me right now, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the Daily Mad News. Okay, so what is the mad news for today? Daily Mad News. So Google has been monitoring millions of children. That's what the lawsuit in America have said. So Google secretly monitors millions of school kids. Lawsuit alleges. Daily Mad News. At the forefront of bringing technology to America's classrooms, Google uses its dominance in schools to spy on millions of future customers, tracking the digital lives of kids as early as kindergarten. A lawsuit filed by New Mexico Attorney General alleges. So the consequences of Google's tracking cannot be overstated. Children are being monitored by one of the largest data mining companies in the world, at school, at home, on mobile devices, without their knowledge and without the permission of their parents. It said in just a few years, Google infiltrated more than half the nation's primary and secondary school by offering a free web-based service that gives kids access to applications including the company's email, calendar, drive services, according to the states too. Daily Mad News. It further alleges Google that Google misled schools and parents with assurances there were no privacy issues with its educational products, even as it stockpiled potential sensitive materials on kids' whereabouts and online behavior.
I know words, I have the best words, but there's no better word than stupid.
It said, marketed as a pure educational tool, Google Education is now used by more than 80 million educators and students, giving the company access to their digital life and personal data. The lawsuit stated. More than 25 million teachers and students also use Chromebooks, laptops that run on Google's operating system, it added. That's actually true, because I think in most schools and primary and secondary schools now, Google Chrome has actually been made mandatory in most of the schools. So we're going to go deeper into this though. It said, more valuable still, Google has captured generation of future customers who are trained to use Google platform as early as kindergarten, it noted. Daily Mad News. So it says, Google tools required for classrooms are allegedly being used to build data profiles of each student. So this was published in April 8th, 2025. It says, Google now faces a lawsuit for spying on students through mandatory Chromebook usage. Okay, so it says, a lawsuit was filed April 7, 2025, accusing Google of harvesting personal data of students across the country. The lawsuit, titled Joel Swart et al. Versus Google, alleges that the company has been collecting data and using it to build profiles for each student that can be used in the future for marketing purposes and more, all without their knowledge or parental consent.
I know words, I have the best words, but there's no better word than stupid.
It says that students in many public schools are required to use Chromebooks to complete their classwork, along with a handful of Google-based tools like Google Docs, Classroom, etc. Any browser activity through Google is also easily monitored by the tech mogul. All of these sources provide avenues to funnel data into unique profiles of each individual. This is really bad. Let's go deeper into this. Daily Mad News. It says Google hit with lawsuit over data collection on school kids. So, oh my gosh, Google. That's small. And this one says, this one's another one on April 9th. So So remember, the first one is New Mexico. This one is in North Carolina. So all these schools are literally coming out there to sue Google and saying, Google, you are taking our children's data. You're monitoring them, not only from school, but you're monitoring them from home. I mean, we're going to go deep and see how far they've gone. So North Carolina schools uses Google products and have issued more than 1 million Google Chromebooks to students, most of which students take home, according to State Department of Public Instruction data. So that was published on April 9, 2025. So let's read to these. Daily Mag News.
Tonight, a group of parents claims the Google software used by school systems is secretly tracking their students' data. WR's Destiny Patterson has a closer look at the allegations.
More than 1 million North Carolina students open Chromebook laptops to complete their assignments. This federal lawsuit filed this week raises concerns about their safety. A group of California parents say Google uses student data to create intimately detailed profiles on school-aged children without student or parent consent, and then uses that profile to market products and services and manipulate how students think and act. They say Google can access students' web activity, search activity, cookies stored by websites, cached data, and downloaded files. The lawsuit also says Google relies on the consent of school personnel alone, who do not have the authority to do so. The parents allege Google violated the Fourth Amendment, 14th Amendment, the Federal Wiretap Act, and several California state laws. A Google spokesperson tells WREL the accusations are false. In an email, he wrote, "None of the information collected is ever used for targeted advertising, and we have strong controls to protect student data and require schools to obtain parental consent when needed." We emailed our area's largest school districts asking what they thought about the lawsuit and its allegations, if they have any safeguards in place, and what agreements it has with Google. Most districts didn't respond, but those that did weren't able to immediately answer our questions. The parents who filed the lawsuit want a full jury trial and to represent all K-12 public school students across the country through class action. They also want Google to pay for court and attorney's fees, as well as damages. Destiny Patterson, WREL News.
Daily Mag News. The problem is that UK also, Google also controls most of the UK's educational services. I'll show you more, before we get into that. So this is one of the class action that was done against Google. Yeah. Class action. Google school-based issued Chromebooks collect kids' face templates, voice prints, and other eye-sensitive data. I mean, it's ridiculous. Google has been hit with a proposed class action filed by an Illinois father who alleges the tech Goliath has illegally collected, stored, and used the personal identifiable biometric information of children under 13 years old who uses the G Suite for Education platform on Chromebooks laptops issued to certain schools nationwide. I
know words, I have the best words, but there's no better word than stupid.
Said alleged violation of Illinois Biometric Information Privacy Act, BIPA, and the Federal Children Online Privacy Protection Act, COPPA. The 32-page lawsuit out of California claims Google has collected voice prints, facial templates, and number of other eye-sensitive and immutable biometric data from over half of the nation's school children without parental or guardians' consent. Daily Mag News. Wow. It says, according to the lawsuit, Google has collected student G Suite users' physical location, website they visit, videos they watch on YouTube, voice recordings, and other behavioral information unique to each child in clear violation of both laws and without making any reasonable effort to obtain permission before doing so.
I know words, I have the best words, but there's no better word than stupid.
This is ridiculous. This is spying on a global scale. The UK schools also uses these Chromebooks. I'm going to give you an instance here. Schools in the UK, they're actually making it mandatory for most of the most of these students. I mean, this is Ashton School. Yeah. Acer's Chromebook, a school-wide adoption. Yeah, they even said it there. We didn't choose Google because we knew the pandemic was coming, but we were very glad that we did. Went in with a Chromebook, it just works. I mean, this is how most of the kids there in this school, for example, they've adopted Chromebook for the students. Not only that school, this is another school too, Aylesbury Grammar School. You know, Chromebooks. They literally make this Chromebook mandatory for most of the students. Daily news. Now, while I was looking through the UK, yeah, I was looking at the government policies on all these Chromebooks in the UK. So far, this is what I came across. I came across the education technology, which is the edtech survey, which is in 2020-2021. I came across this year. So let's see what the aims and objective of what they're trying to do is. So the research aims to understand the current technology landscapes in school to help inform steps taken to better support schools to embed and use technology well in ways that promote cost savings, workload reductions, improve pupils' outcome and resilience to future system shocks. Yeah. So if you look at it, there's no, when I check through this document here, there's no actually government policy on school biometrics. There's no guidelines in how the school can use the biometrics, and I think is one of the flaws which the government have on this issue, because there's no safeguarding issues there. Most of these schools are taking the school data and selling it to third parties. For example, let me give you an instance. So this is Google Classrooms here. So Microsoft and Google want to be the pioneer in this new age digital education. So by doing so, they provide services on their platform like Google Classrooms, Google Calendars, and all that kind of Google apps that encourages and further students' education. But the trade-off of this is the schools have to share the school data with these companies. Now, so for example, these companies now got the access into the school's database, so they can embed it which in the product. So for example, Google Classrooms have access to the school databases of both the school and the teachers of all schools. So now we know how Google uses data harvesting tools to gather information and data to be sold for third parties for advertisement and stuff like that. So in a nutshell, the school is indirectly selling your children's data to Google for future advertisement. I mean, this is basically what it is. There's an integration between the schools. There's an integration between the schools and these tech giants. I mean, it's ridiculous. Not only that, if you see what I'm talking about, that Microsoft also have the school data sync, where it's the same as the Google Classrooms, where Microsoft actually has access into the school database system. I mean, this is ridiculous. And now we've seen how this data have been misused now, according to the lawsuit. Daily news. If they got your digital fingerprint and they got access to your physical fingerprint data, which the school itself already taken from your children. I mean, I've seen some primary schools and secondary schools now that take biometrics just for them to take school dinner. Now, this should create concerns for most parents, because now Google have taken your children's data without your permission. Now, if the American parents and schools are suing Google now, what is the British government doing about this? What is the British government doing about this? You want to know what they are doing about it? Daily news. The Supreme Court is blocking the UK's class action lawsuit against Google, where Google is using all our children's information, all the information of every single UK kids, both in primary and secondary school, mining them, selling it to third party to make better information, to make more money for the government and their shareholders.
I know words, I have the best words, but there's no better word than stupid.
So where's the digital dividends in this? How is the children making money from this? The Supreme Court of the UK is blocking the lawsuit against Google, whereas in America, everybody's eating Google with a lawsuit. I mean, everywhere you look, everywhere is eating Google with a lawsuit for spying on the kids. This is what Google have been doing, spying on kids. Yeah, look everywhere. Bloomsburg, Google is with a lawsuit. Everywhere you go, see class action against Google, spying on kids, taking face templates. They're taking the face templates of your children through the Chromebooks. And you guess what? As a parent right now, if you go right now and say you don't want your kid to have Chromebook, it's going to be a problem in some of these schools. I think these schools need to be questioned as well, because they're partakers of this. How can you be selling data of children under 13 to tech giants without the consent of their parents? For a child to even use Instagram nowadays, have to be 13 and up. Whereas Google is having not only free Instagram into your kid's life, that Chromebook is recording your kid's voice, activities, facing, is recording everything about your kid. This is ridiculous. Daily Man News. The State of Biometrics 2022. A review of policy in the UK education. Said children's biometrics data and AI-driven technologies are increasingly used for purposes such as making meal payments and measuring attention, engagement, and emotion in schools. This involves persuasive data processing practices which raises legal and ethical questions. It does.
I know words, I have the best words, but there's no better word than stupid.
What is biometric data? Information gathered about a person's physical and behavioral traits that may be used to identify a living person on its own or when combined with other personal data of which the data processor is likely to come into possession. Daily Man News. The State of Biometrics 2022, a review of policy and practice in UK education. The report maps the prevalence of biometrics in educational settings based on original research from the 4 regions of UK, England, Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, published on the 10-year anniversary of the Protection of Freedoms Act 2012. The report challenges the presumption that the law alone is effective in the protection of children's rights. The author explores the everyday use of fingerprint and facial recognition for routine tasks in schools, such as buying lunch in a school canteen or borrowing a library book. The case studies document emerging technologies such as emotion and mood detection, as well as some of the myths and mistakes made by schools when adopting the products sold by a wide range of companies from around the world. So they said, with a forward from the Biometrics and Surveillance Camera Commissioner, Fraser Sampson, the report calls for a better approach and ban on biometrics in educational settings across the UK. Daily Man News. It is understandable that concerns will be raised over the use of such technology if it is believed that it involves the holding of database of pupils' fingerprints. However, from what I've understood from our conversation, although theoretically possible to use the information obtained from this system to match fingerprints taken from a scene of a crime, wow. For cashless catering, library registration, door access, photocopying, locker access, cashless monetary payment, vending machine, and laptop access, the biometric of choice is the fingerprint, which has firmly gotten hold of the UK educational market. Daily Man News. Now, we've seen with the way the school is taking all this information out. Now, my concern now is this, with this school data sync with Microsoft here, and with the Google Classroom now, and what we've heard now that Google is doing to these kids. I mean, how do we deal with this? Let me know what you think of this issue right there about Google spying on kids as young as 13 years old and under with these Google Chrome laptops that's been mandatory for most of these schools. I mean, let me know your opinion in the comment section if you're not too scared to leave your comments there. I mean, my channel has been having a lot of problems in the past few days. I just got my channel back. As you've seen, most of my subscribers have been deleted. So if you like what I do, make sure you like, share and subscribe to the Daily Mad News. Until I see you again in the next episode, it's your boy FOB. Daily Mad News. Mad News. Daily Mad News. Mad News. Daily Mad News.